Hello, fourth graders. Today we're going to be taking a look at some basic geometry terms and identifying what those are, including points, endpoints, lines, and rays. Those are a little bit of a review from third grade math, but they are a good place for us to start with our geometry work yet this year in fourth grade. So the first thing that we're going to do is talk about something called a point, which really is just what it sounds like, a point in time or a point in space. In our geometry terms, we're really going to be looking at points as being a point in space. That could be a point on a map. For instance, for here, if we're looking at a space designated for New York City or Des Moines, Iowa, it is a specific point on the map. So that is one item that we can take a look at for our geometry concepts. We can also have points on a coordinate grid. In that situation, a point might be marked by coordinates like 3, comma 4, which would be our x and y coordinates, and so on and so forth. So points can exist in a variety of different places. We can also take a look at sets of points. In sets of points, we might be looking at this point and this point with space or time in between them, in which case these are called end points because they mark the end of two different places on a line segment. So we've got end points marking a start and a finish. So we can label it start and finish. It could also be endpoints in a line segment labeled A and B, in which case that line segment would be marked A, B with the line segment over the top of it to mark the idea that that is a line segment. This line segment can also be called BA, so you can label a line segment forward and backward as long as you are using the correct endpoints to label it as such. So we could also take a look at some other ways you can use endpoints. Endpoints can also be parts of other geometry terms. Here's a point, and if I have a line working in multiple directions, if it has an endpoint in there as well as a continuation in one direction, I would call that a ray. I'm going to call this one ray R L. And this ray RL has an endpoint of R with a continuation on through L, which also could be considered if we had another point on there, a segment that would go from R to L. So we might have both a ray where there is a non-terminating end as well as a terminating portion of a line segment inside of a ray. So array really just has multiple areas where there are endpoints and continuation on in one direction or another. We can also just have a line. And in this situation, we could have the line of HA, and it also could be called AH. So HA as well as AH, and that would be designated by the endpoints on each end to mark that it is an actual line and not a line segment. Now, what if we just have a line segment marked by two endpoints here, one called M and one called E. Line segment M, E, also known as line segment EM. When your teacher gets you lined up to go to your next specials class, please note that you are getting into a line segment, not a line, because you have a beginning and you have an end where a line would go on forever and ever. All right, I'm going to go ahead and erase these pieces right here. And the last thing that we're going to be talking about today would be different ways that lines can intersect. We can have lines that are parallel to each other, in which case they would never meet. So these are parallel lines. We can also have intersecting lines, in which case lines cross each other. These are intersecting intersecting. And we can have multiple ways that lines can intersect with each other. We can have lines that intersect with each other. My eraser is giving me troubles here. We can have lines that intersect with each other in perpendicular ways, which would mean that they intersect at 90-degree angles. We can also have intersections that happen at a variety of acute and obtuse angles. But this is just a quick review of geometry terms for today. And with that, we are going to wrap it up. And your next piece will be to take a look at some of these inside of some math work.